Most people never change, not because they can't, not because they lack potential, but because staying the same feels safer than becoming someone new. Change is rarely blocked by ability. It's blocked by comfort, fear, and habit. And the most dangerous part is this: most people don't even realize they've stopped changing. They wake up, repeat the same routines, have the same conversations, carry the same frustrations, and call it life. Years pass quietly like that. No collapse, no crisis, just slow repetition. And one day, they look back and wonder where the time went. Here's the truth most people avoid. Change threatens identity. Even if your current life makes you unhappy, it's familiar, and familiarity feels safe. You know who you are right now. You know what's expected of you. You know the limits of your world. Change asks you to step into uncertainty, to admit that who you are today might not be enough for where you want to go. And that's uncomfortable. So instead of changing, people explain. They say things like, "This is just how I am. I've always been like this. It's too late now. That's not realistic for someone like me." These aren't truths. They're shields. They protect people from the risk of trying and failing, because trying and failing hurts less than trying and succeeding and having to live up to it. That's another reason people don't change. Change creates responsibility. Once you decide to improve, you can no longer blame your circumstances. You can't hide behind excuses. You can't pretend you don't know better. Growth raises standards, and higher standards mean harder choices. It's easier to complain than to commit, easier to dream than to act, easier to stay busy than to be focused. Most people confuse movement with progress. They fill their days with noise, social media, tasks, entertainment. They're always doing something, but rarely the right thing. Distraction becomes a lifestyle, and distraction keeps people exactly where they are. Another reason most people never change is fear of isolation. When you change, you outgrow people. Conversations shift, priorities separate. Not everyone will understand your new direction, and humans are wired to belong. So many people choose connection over growth. They stay the same to stay accepted. They avoid discomfort to avoid judgment. They dim their ambition so they don't make others uncomfortable. But here's the cost no one talks about. Every time you choose belonging over becoming, you lose a piece of yourself, slowly, quietly, until one day you don't recognize the person you've become. Most people don't fail at change because they try and fail. They fail because they never truly start. They wait for motivation. They wait for clarity. They wait for the perfect time. But change doesn't begin with certainty. It begins with discomfort. It begins with deciding to act before you feel ready. That's why motivation is unreliable. Motivation comes and goes. Comfort stays. And comfort is patient. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't argue. It simply waits until you're tired enough to give up. Most people don't change because they negotiate with discomfort. They say, "I'll start when things calm down. I'll change when life is less stressful. I'll focus when I have more time." But life never slows down. There will always be stress. There will always be excuses. There will always be reasons not to change. The difference between people who change and people who don't is simple. One group waits for life to make it easier. The other decides to get stronger. Change requires something most people avoid: honesty. Honesty about habits. Honesty about effort. Honesty about wasted time. It requires looking at your life and admitting, "I played it safe. I avoided discomfort. I chose convenience too often." That's not easy. It's much easier to blame external factors: your past, your environment, other people. But blame keeps you powerless. Responsibility gives you control. That's why responsibility feels heavy at first. It removes illusions. But once you accept responsibility, something shifts. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" And you start asking, "What am I willing to do about it?" That question is where change actually begins, not in a dramatic moment, not in a burst of motivation, but in quiet, consistent decisions. Waking up earlier, saying no more often, doing the work even when it's boring, choosing discipline when comfort calls. Change is rarely exciting at first. It's repetitive, it's lonely, it's unnoticed, and that's why most people quit. They expect transformation to feel powerful immediately, but real change feels awkward before it feels rewarding. You have to act like a new person before you feel like one. That gap scares people, because in that gap, there are no guarantees, only effort. But here's the part that most people never reach. Once you push through that gap, once your actions start aligning with your values, once you keep promises to yourself, confidence appears. Not loud confidence, not performative confidence, quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need approval. You stop needing external validation. You stop explaining your choices. You stop waiting for permission. And slowly, your identity catches up with your actions. That's real change. Most people never change because they underestimate how much patience it requires. They want results without endurance, progress without sacrifice, growth without discomfort. But change is not an event, it's a process. And processes demand consistency, not intensity, consistency. Small choices, repeated daily, create massive shifts over time. The people you admire didn't change overnight. They changed because they refused to stay the same. They accepted discomfort. They accepted loneliness. They accepted responsibility. And they did it without applause. So if you feel stuck right now, if you feel like you've been circling the same place for years, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're avoiding something uncomfortable. And that's good news, because discomfort is the doorway. The moment you stop asking, why can't I change? And start asking, what am I avoiding? Everything becomes clearer. Most people never change, but you don't have to be one of them. Change doesn't require permission. It requires a decision, a quiet one, a personal one, and the courage to stay with it long enough for it to reshape who you are.